Finance Committee to order. As chair of the Finance Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and subsequent extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I'm confirming that we are, first, providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or to the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 899-0671-9106. And the passcode is 966405. The public may also view the meeting via channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and at the Nashua Public Library. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned above, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. Each member should state their presence and also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Now, is Alderman Harriet Gathright here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
You can't see me?
I can now. Okay, so could you please call the roll?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Alderman Patricia Clee.
Yes, I am here. I can hear the proceedings, and I am alone.
Alderwoman Elizabeth Liu.
Yes, I'm here alone and I can hear the proceedings.
Clerk is present, and I'm alone, and I can hear the proceedings. Alderwoman at Large Shoshana Kelly.
I'm here. I'm alone and I can hear everyone.
Alderman at Large Brandon Michael Laws. I thought I heard him earlier.
I see him
Can you
on the
hear me?
screen here. Alderman Laws.
There we go. Sorry. Eventually I'll figure this out. I'm here. I can hear you and I'm alone.
Okay. Alderman at Large Michael B. O'Brien Sr.
I am present and I can hear the proceedings and I am alone.
and Mayor Jim Dotches.
I'm social distancing because of the pandemic, and I'm alone here in the room.
And we
All
have
right.
7 attendants.
All the members present, I think, right?
Yes.
Clerk. So the first issue is public comment. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the committee? Let's go to communications. First one from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Okay. I motion to accept, place on file, and approve the purchase of one 2020 International Civic 515 SFA cab and chase from Liberty International of Manchester, New Hampshire, in the amount of $67,472 pursuant to the state of the New Hampshire contract number 800-2661. Funding will be through Department 161 Streets Fund Trust. Activity surf by roll call.
Is Mr. Ibarra here? Anyone from the street department? How about Kelly Parkinson?
Hi, I'm here. This is the truck that we
missed last week or last meeting that,
Mhm.
that was on my memo but didn't make it to the motion. So I wanted to make sure that it followed through as it should.
All right, thank you very much. So I think we
Mhm.
discussed this last week, but
Yes.
Yes, we did.
or 2 weeks ago. Does anybody have any comments or additional questions? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes,
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes. The next communication again from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, placed on file, and award the contract for the general contractor for the Jackson Mills hydroelectric turbine generator and controls replacement to Bancroft Contracting Corporation of South Paris, Maine, in the amount of $2,664,500. Funding will be through a bond authorized by R 19-142 by roll call.
Now, is Ms. Marchant here? Anybody on this?
Good evening. Yes, I am here.
Oh, okay, good.
So
Can
thank
you,
you very much for the intro. This is the third part of the three-part series to replace the Jackson Falls turbine. Again, the bond passed in 2019. It was a combination bond for the Jackson Falls turbine replacement and the Mine Falls Dam relicensing process. The other two contracts, which we have already issued to this very complicated process, has been one to Turner, who is our permitting and main engineering firm on the project. And then the second is to Mavel. We were before you in April with the contract for the actual turbine itself that Mavel Corporation, we've purchased from them. This last piece is with Bancroft, and this is for the highly skilled process of removing the existing powerhouse in most of its majority, and then installing the new turbine that Mavel brings and building the powerhouse back in place around it. And this would include the cofferdams and all of the work associated with this very specialized work. So the contract is before you today, based on the work with great help from legal and risk, I want to say. And Deb Chisholm is also on the line, the waterways manager, and I can certainly let her talk about this some more or help to answer any questions you may have. Oh,
You're on mute, Deb.
I have some details on the work that needs to get done if people are interested in hearing it. And if not, that's fine as well. But the Jackson Falls Hydro project is the one that is adjacent to the Margaritas restaurant building on Canal Street. It's a little bit hard to see from the street, much more easy to see if you're over on the library side. And essentially what we'll be doing is tearing down the existing powerhouse, pulling out the turbine, putting in a new turbine, and putting a new powerhouse back over the top of it. So essentially, when the project is complete, we'll have a nice new turbine that won't break down as much. And then it will essentially look exactly the way it does now.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right,
I do this.
Patricia,
go ahead.
Thank you. To Deb, or perhaps Director Marchant, refresh my memory. This has the capability of 5 megawatts. Is that what it's called, or is this one just the one?
This is just the one.
Okay. So it's the other one that's
The other one,
over
The
by
Mine Falls
Stella that has
project. The Mine Falls project
Mine Falls,
has
yeah, that one has the potential for 5.
that's a 3 megawatt project.
3 megawatts. Okay. So, and we do use the power of this, correct? The megawatts power. It falls within the state's guidelines of allowing us to, without having to do any extra legislation to add? Is that Director
We sell the
Marchand,
power. We sell the power from both of those
Okay.
projects.
I think to answer your question,
that's what I
Alderwoman Clee,
wanted to
yes,
know.
this project is net metered. And so the profit from this project
Right.
is significantly higher. So for example, we sell this energy, I don't know the rate off. We sell this energy closer to 8 or 9 cents, whereas the Mine Falls Dam, because it is over the 1 megawatt limit, that is in a long-term contract where we sell the power for about 4.5 cents. So we get almost double the for the same power produced out of Jackson, even though it produces significantly less power.
Thank you. So this is important. I mean, right at this point, we're probably still paying for more than what revenue is coming in, but in a potential lifetime, this is extremely important as far as revenue and so on. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's absolutely true. Yes.
Good. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Anyone else? All right, Madam Clerk, could you?
I'm sorry.
Mayor,
Hi, it's Elizabeth Liu.
Oh, Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. So my question is just, so this is a $2.6 million purchase. And I just wondered, I think the paperwork said it did not go out to bid. And I understand the paperwork said that they're the only qualified person in the area. But it also made reference to the ordinance, and the ordinance gives like, I don't know, 10 different reasons why bidding is not needed in this case. And I'm not sure which of those 10 reasons you feel this one qualifies.
maybe I can ask Kelly to address that one.
Yeah, the ordinance that we used was that it's essentially a sole source because there isn't another vendor that qualifies in our region to perform the work.
And I just wondered, how do we know that if we don't put it out to bid?
I think that's a fair question. I can try and give a little bit there if that would be helpful. So we have been working on this project to get it to this point for 3 years. We put out the actual purchase of the turbine went out to bid, and we got 4 bids back from 4 different companies. In that process, the hydroelectric, and so those bids went out nationally and internationally. And the one we chose has a headquarters in Boston, but it's actually manufactured in the Czech Republic. This industry is small in New England. Out west, there's a lot more competition. There's very few people who can do this specialized work. And so we work very closely with our operator, Essex, who has multiple dams in the New England region and knows who the players are and who are not. And we also work very closely with H.L. Turner and John Levine, who many of you have seen help us talk about the dams in these studies over time. They know this field inside and out, and they're the ones who we talk to about who could possibly do this work. And that's how we know that they're really the only one in this region. We'd be pulling from significantly outside of this region to open it up further. And I do think it's also important to point out to the public that Bancroft recently did a project, not similar, but one that did involve cofferdams, somewhat similar for Pennachuck. And that was out to bid. They were the lowest bidder for Pennachuck. They came in on budget and on schedule, and Pennachuck had nothing but good things to say with working with them. So it isn't that, they're not just out there. We did ask for references, and we did follow this up as well.
No, thank you for answering that. That explains very well to me, but I wanted to ask the question. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Alderman O'Brien.
Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to remind, Alderman Clay and Representative Clay, last biennium, I did file the bill to increase the net metering. As we know, it was eventually vetoed by the governor, So I put it in again. ready to smash my head up against the dam or whatever, but we'll see if it goes through, and hopefully we have better luck this time. So I think there's enough legislation, hopefully, and we can get that net metering better.
All right, well, thank you very much. It would be very, very helpful. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. Next communication, again from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Mr. Mayor, I motion to accept, placed on file, and approve the 3-year amendment to expand the use of Cartograph software to include Department of Public Works for implementation and training to Cartograph software in the amount of $17,283.33. Funding will be through the Division of Public Works operating budget annually by roll call.
All right, is there anyone here from Public Works to address this? Or anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I believe Bruce Cottignon can speak to this item as well as the next.
Okay.
Yes, I'm on. Yeah, this is just adding on an addendum onto our normal maintenance contract to provide training for Public Works so that they can expand the usage of Cartograph.
And for those
So
who may not be familiar, Mr. Cottignon is the IT director.
Yes. So it's really to provide customized assistance throughout the year for some of the customizations, as well as specialized training as they expand the use of Cartograph throughout the city.
And why don't you give a brief explanation as to what Cartograph is?
Well, Cartograph at this time is used mostly for the assets tracking within DPW, and it's also used as a means for citizens to report whether there's a pothole or a tree down or damage. And so it's a work order system for DPW for those types of activities. The expanded use would be to be able to track sewer pipes and water mains and everything else that goes within the city. So there's a large use that can be utilized that we're not really taking advantage of right now for the city in Cartograph.
All right. Thank you. Questions, comments?
I have a couple questions, please.
Yep.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. How long have we been using Cartograph?
I think it's been about 4, maybe 5 years now.
And my couple of concerns I had is, for some reason I couldn't find. I know the backup said that we had renewed the contract in August. Is that right? Okay. Was that through the Finance Committee or the Board of Aldermen? Does anyone?
It's not really renewing the contract. It was we pay maintenance every year. So we paid the maintenance for that in August.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that the contract was renewed and voted on. So the only couple of things I want to point out is it just seems we've been using them for about 3 or 4 years. They're just, how much do they cost a year?
Well, the software I think is a little over $100,000 a year.
Yeah. I saw the 110,000 to the
Right.
IT department.
Yep.
And they're going to charge us $480 an hour to teach us how to use it. After it just
that's essentially, yeah. It's not really, per person. That's for classroom training.
okay.
You know, so it's the type of thing that they do need to have a lot of training to utilize the system effectively. And they've had training in the past, but in order to expand the usage of it and get more bang for our buck, we do need more additional training for the resources in DPW.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I've been looking at the software costs to the city, and they just seem incredibly exorbitant. So this is a little troubling to me, but that's all.
Software is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It never seems to stop, does it?
No, it does not.
Never does.
I think it's about $600,000
Yes.
this half a year.
Software is expensive, more than we'd like, that's for sure. Well, any other questions or comments about this specific item? If not, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Next item is from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I motion to accept, placed on file, and approve the annual software maintenance required for the continued operation of Cisco SmartNet core switches and phone system to Custom Computer Specialists, Inc., for the amount of $37,806.90. Funding will be from account 54407, software maintenance, by roll call.
All right, Mr. Cattignon.
Yeah, this is essentially a normal software maintenance that we have every year for our Cisco-based phone system that we have. We have a voice over IP phone systems that use throughout the city, police, fire, schools. We all have the same phone system. This is paying maintenance on the Cisco switches and the devices that are included within that. So we pay this every year as normal maintenance, and it's approved as part of our normal yearly budget.
Anybody? All right, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. Unfinished business, we have none. New business resolutions, none. New business ordinances, none. Record of expenditures. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion that the Finance Committee has complied with the city charter and ordinance pertaining to the record of expenditures for the period from November 27, 2020 to December 10th, 2020 by roll call.
Any questions or comments about the record of expenditures? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, the motion passes. General discussion. Are there any items of general discussion? Public comment. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the Finance Committee? Remarks by Alderman. Any remarks by Alderman?
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment, a
Okay.
remark. if I may. Thank you. It has nothing to do with finance. It's just today they announced 21 more deaths in the state of New Hampshire. And for those people out there who have lost those 21 family members and friends, I want to truly send out my condolences. It is devastating to hear a number like that, but it's something that we have to pay attention to. And here I will get a little cranky. For those that are calling this a flu, remember that 21 people died today,
Right.
or at least that were reported.
Yes, many families have suffered serious consequences from COVID-19. No question about that. Tragic consequences.
Even
All right, any other
beyond death. I agree.
remarks by Alderman?
Mr. Mayor, Alderman O'Brien, if I may.
Please.
We got the storm coming, as many of our citizens know, probably getting a robocall. Nashua has declared a snow emergency, so just urging everybody to be careful in the snow removal habits. Do not stick your fingers down the chute. That's not where your fingers are supposed to be. But if you do have somebody in your neighborhood that's not able-bodied and you're capable, help give your neighbor a hand and shovel them out. And also, let's not forget our hydrants and assist the fire department in shoveling those out as well. So I understand it's 10 to almost a foot that's expected. So good luck, everybody. It is New England.
Any other comments from Alderman?
I do have a question. Mayor Donches?
Please go ahead, yes.
Thank you. Do you know whether we're going to be entertaining the idea of a curfew?
I don't know. The Board of Health did recommend it. For it to be considered an alderman, well, in order to enact a curfew, there would need to be action by the Board of Health, which has occurred, but also by the Board of Aldermen, the same process that was used for the mask ordinance.
I see.
So in order to consider a curfew, some member of the Board of Aldermen would need to introduce a resolution to, adopt a curfew. That would then need to be considered and voted on by the Board of Aldermen. Now, I don't know if any alderman is sponsoring that resolution or not.
Okay, thank you.
But the Board of Health did take considerable testimony, and obviously there was concern on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments by Alderman? All right, we don't have a non-public session. Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, but I'll defer the honor to Alderman.
Alderwoman Clee? Alderwoman Clee, sorry.
That's okay. You had him as your vice chair for so long, it's easy to forget. At this time, Mr. Mayor, I would like to motion to adjourn by roll call, please.
Yes, let's call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Clegg,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes, and Merry Christmas.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes, and Merry Christmas back at you.
Alderman O'Brien,
Happy holidays, and yes.
Mayor Donches.
Yes, and the meeting of the Finance Committee is adjourned at 7:29 p.m.